One of the most stressful parts about traveling to a powerlifting meet is packing up, getting on the airplane, and then thinking, did I put everything in my bag that I need in order to compete on the platform? So today, I'm going to be filming a video talking about everything that I am packing for my meet in 3 days in Florida, so you guys can have a reference for the things that we need to be making sure that we absolutely do have, so we can be as successful on the platform as possible without forgetting something very, very, very critical. And on that note, the first thing that I'm going to be putting in my bag today is my belt, because I like my belt. My belt is my belt. I have had this belt since 2018 now. You can definitely tell that it has been very, very, very well used. There's bonus holes in it from when I competed as a 242. I had to drill extras on this end. There's bonus holes from when I was competing upwards of 330 walking around, and I was really fat, so I had to drill holes on this end. So it has definitely seen some shit. It's been with me for a very long time, and I definitely want to keep her going for this meet. So we are putting her nice and secure in the bag. Putting the belt in first, so I'm going to try to pack everything else inside and around it, because if I put everything else in first, then had to get the belt in afterwards, it gets a little bit awkward. But next on the list for highly important things, grabbing the squat shoes. These are a pair of the original Reebok Legacy lifters. You can definitely tell that they have been well used as well. They're also very gross, because something I do that is a little bit unique to me is when I am squatting, I will go no socks on. And the reason I go no socks on is because if I have socks on inside my squat shoe, the sock is going to move around in the shoe a little bit. And an old Donnie Thompson trick that he talked about years ago was to put spray glue inside of a squat shoe and then run bare feet. And the idea was that the spray glue would like glue your foot to the shoe and be really well connected. Well, the problem with that is me being gross and having very sweaty feet. Well, the spray glue would just kind of get sweaty and I wouldn't be very secure and I'd be sliding around in there more than if I had a sock. So the solution I have chosen is to chalk the inside of my squat shoe every time I am squatting. And that way I get a nice secure anchor. And if it starts to feel slippery, I'll just take the shoe off, pop a little bit more chalk in. Next thing I need to make sure I am bringing is my deadlift shoes. Now, if you guys are familiar with the Meet Prep vlog series, you will know that fairly early on in this meet prep process, I was pulling in the old Reebok CrossFit TR shoes, which are phenomenal deadlift shoes. The thing is that those shoes exploded, and instead of trying to fix them, I knew that I had these kicking around in storage. I used to wear these when I pulled in Florida. They're a pair of XERO, I think they're Konas they're called. They don't make them anymore. I did order a pair of XERO Hannah shoes, which have just been my wear around, walk around shoes for the last little while. But these guys are freaking sick. They are ultra thin. They are relatively sturdy for being so thin. And the big reason I like these over the Notorious Lifter deadlift shoes that I tried is that the sole is thinner and it is much stiffer, so you're directly locked in and glued to the floor. So you're not going to have to worry about like any squish, any slide, any weird things happening. And as you can tell, I also chalk these when I am wearing them to pull in. And these are also the shoes that I'll be wearing when I'm benching. So got 2 out of 3 lifts, or 3 out of 3 lifts now covered in terms of footwear. Next thing that is going to be very important to have are my A7 knee sleeves, because I mean, they're nice, thick, juicy sleeves. And the reason I like the A7s over other brands of sleeve is that their size chart, there is a lot of room between the, not a lot of room, there's a lot of sizes. There's a lot of sizes. The spacing between sizes is a lot smaller compared to other brands, especially Inzer. And with that, I can get a bit more of a precise fit, get them a little bit tighter. And if you notice in the videos, they are still pretty loose on me. And the problem is that I have very large calves and quads compared to my knees. So I can't quite get them on if they were tighter on the knee joint itself. So I kind of got to suffer through wearing the 3XL and having it be a little bit looser on the knee, but they still are more than supportive enough for what I need. And I don't know where I'm going to stick these in. I'll probably just kind of smush them in here and let shit smush around, but that may be a problem that we'll have to sort out in the future, but we will see if I run into issues. Now, as far as other things go, deciding what I want to put in next, I think that we will talk about singlets. Now, for this meet, I'm packing 2 ELITEFTS two-tone singlets. And the reason I'm packing 2 is, well, in case I poop myself on the platform, that's the big reason. But the more real reason is I have one 4XL singlet. I like to run the 4XL for bench and deadlift, so it is, not super tight, a little bit loose, doesn't feel too restrictive, not showing off too much moose knuckle. We'll tuck this guy in up here, get her nice and firmly in there. And then I have another singlet that is a 2XL. And the reason I have a 2XL is when I'm squatting, like, I want it to give me a little bit of compression. And not that the compression's really putting pounds on my squats, but I just like the sensation of being like squished around the hips a little bit, squished around the quads a little bit. I'm not sure if this is old habits coming from multiply or if it is, actual benefit, but I just know that when I'm squatting, I feel better with like stuff around my legs, like feeling the squeeze. So I like to squat in the 2XL. I don't think I could ever get into an XL at my current body weight. So 2XL is going to be what we choose to do. I should have set up this a little bit better for the gym bag suitcase placement for the secondary camera, but we're shoving her in. We're making her work now. I should also say this is a North Face carry-on bag, and this thing's sick. This is actually my full-time gym bag, and I think the big disadvantage of having a suitcase going to the gym is that you're going to get made fun of. Big advantage is having a roller bag, especially when like the walk from the parking lot in the realm, like we train in a 50,000 square foot gym, so it's freaking giant. The parking lot is freaking giant. So having a roller bag to walk from the parking lot into the powerlifting section of the gym, very, very, very nice. I would highly recommend it. This thing has been phenomenal for me. I've had it for almost 3 years now, and it looks used, but it's held up really, really, really well. Zipper seems rock solid. So it's a solid bag, and I am very okay with running it, even if people do make fun of me for having a suitcase. Now, next thing I want to shove in there, t-shirt number 1, just Powerlifting Club t-shirt. And like with these, we're printing them on a oversized, pretty heavy blank. And the oversized aspect maybe isn't the best for getting under a singlet. Like I need to get me out to help me tuck her all in so it's nice and situated when I am squatting in it. But the reason I really like these shirts is the amount of bar grip they provide. Like it's a very thick, heavy fabric, and it just locks onto the bench bar, locks onto the bench pad, locks onto the squat bar, and really just lets me feel secure. And a lot of like other people's platform shirts, they're a like thinner, I don't know how to talk about shirt fabric. They're thinner, they're like slipperier, and I just don't feel as secure even if I chalk my back. So I'd rather have this guy that is a little bit big, but really, 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 really grippy for the bar when I'm on the platform. And like A7 has those grip shirts. I don't think they're allowed where I'm competing, so I can't use that. So I just use a shirt that is nice and thick. Next thing I'm going to be tossing in here is my platform granny panties. So as you guys know, if you compete, most federations want you wearing legless underwear. Got a Lulu pair, got a pair of Thieves pair that I got from Target. But the reason I have 2, again, is in case an accident happens on the platform, I want to have clean underwear. So make sure that you always have extra underwear on the platform. And I've been pretty good the last couple of beats. Like I haven't had to use the second pair in a very long time since we have cleaned up the diet, but I always want to be sure. Now, next thing I'm going to toss in, another platform requirement, deadlift socks. You need to have deadlift socks. And I guess the meet that I'm going to, it is RPS, so you don't necessarily need to have deadlift socks on the RPS platform. But the thing is that if you clip your shins with the bar and you start to bleed, they will not be 100% stoked. So deadlift socks are going to be a big thing for me to make sure I don't have any weird inconveniences as I'm going up to the bar and someone notices my shins are bleeding and they tell me I have to clean them up and reset. But one thing you will notice about these is there is no foot on the sock because I like to pull barefoot inside of those zeros. So what I do is I just cut the foot off the sock and then I just have the sock on my shin and kind of the bottom tucked in the shoe. So no one is any the wiser. And that lets me have all of the like foot grip in the shoe that I want while still having my shins covered so that I can, not be bleeding everywhere. Now, the last thing that's going to be very, very important, and the rest are kind of just luxury items that I want to have around. Actually, I have one more thing that's very important. But wrist wraps. Now, these are Slingshot Gangster wraps in 36 inches. These have been my favorite wrap ever. Like, these are freaking sick for what I want. And the reason that I like them so much is that they are like a very stretchy material, so you can get a lot of spins, but when you pull it to its limit, it locks up really hard. So even though it is stretchy and soft, it still casts up very, very, very well. And for what I want on a bench wrist strap is I want that solid cast. I want a lot of coverage so the wrist is locked in as well as possible. And these guys absolutely fit the bill for that. And I'm quickly running out of space, and I'm not entirely sure where I'll be able to fit everything else. But the last important item that is an absolute requirement is going to be my new age mouthguard. This thing is very gross, very old. You'll notice that I don't have a mouthguard case, and that kind of started as a joke because like I dropped it on the floor one day and I'm like, well, my immune system's going to be stronger. And I've kind of just ran with that because it is inconvenient to put it in and out of a case and it's going to be gross anyway. So screw it. Might as well embrace the fact that it is gross, but we will slide this guy in here to make sure that we have it. Next thing I'm going to be putting in is a brand new fresh block of chalk. And the reason I'm bringing my own block of chalk is like meet day, weird shit can happen. Some idiot might pour baby powder in the chalk bowl and I don't know, everyone would be screwed except for the guy that has his own chalk. So I want to be extra prepared because I have seen that happen more than once in the 29 meets I've done so far. So chalk, not a bad thing to have. Now, the other thing I want that I probably could get down there, but I would rather just have it because I have it here. Some caffeine pills, some Troponin Nutrition ATP. And the reason that I want these is I am a huge fan of Full Sugar Monster on meet day. Get the carbs, get the caffeine, get going. But then if we're thinking about the amount of caffeine per fluid volume in a Full Sugar Monster, this is a lot more efficient when you need some pick-me-up, but don't have a lot of room to chug a can of a fizzy beverage. And Troponin ATP, there is caffeine in this. There is also what is called 4-DMA-7,8 dihydroxyflavone, which is a very potent nootropic that kind of acts like a stimulant and gets you quite woken up and feeling good. And like these are effervescent tabs, but I find if I like put a whole tab in a bottle, that it's almost like too much. So what I will usually do with these on meet day is I won't have it until third deadlift, and only if I absolutely need it. And instead of having a full tab, we'll kind of just like bite little chunks off of the tab so I'm not getting the full dosage, because the full dosage makes me very jittery feeling, and I don't necessarily want to be jittery when I am competing. Now, other things that I'm not going to put in my carry-on bag that I think are worth talking about. So this one, it's going to be kind of a little bit weird considering who I am and what my kind of stance is on tissue work, because I really do believe that if I need tissue work, it is a sign that I have not been doing enough movement prep, because everything we can accomplish neurologically with tissue work, we can accomplish by accessing range of motion, training through range of motion, loading tissue through range of motion. But the thing is that tomorrow, because I'm spending 6 hours on an airplane, I don't really got a lot of time to movement prep. Like I will try to do some split squats in the aisle. I will try to do some single leg RDLs in the aisle, but that is going to be pretty limited. And then when we get off the plane, we got to drive 5 hours from Orlando to Port Charlotte, or whatever the hell it's going to end up with the traffic. It's not that long of a drive if you look it up on Google Maps, but traffic usually does suck. So I want to make sure I got, a nice hard ball and a sew right, just so I can do a little bit of tissue touching when I do get there, just to make sure everything is opened up. But I am going to prioritize movement prep to feel lubed up over top of the tissue work. Now, other thing that I'm going to bring on that note is I don't have the average band because it's still stuck on the wall because I was doing TKEs earlier, but some ELITEFTS bands. I'm going to have an average, I'm going to have a light, I'm going to have a mini. And again, this is just to help out with the movement prep and getting lubed up once I am down there. The last thing I need to talk about that I am not putting in my check-in bag is some Zone smelling salts. Got the Black Bear Bear Down Steel. And the reason I chose the Black Bear is, well, when I'm sniffing it, I'll get to think of Durrell. But this stuff, I don't know what to describe the flavor as. Like, all these are scented a little bit. All I know is that I'm just going to barely crack it. Oh no. Oh no. Where is it? Oh. It is potent. And I think, like, my aside for a smelling salt, whether or not like I like it, is when I hit it, if I giggle, that's going to be putting me in the headspace that I need to be in. But I'm going to be putting this in my checked baggage and a Ziploc bag that has masking tape on it that has smelling salts written over it, just so they don't accidentally open it up and bomb their faces and mark me as, you know, someone that should not be bringing on a plane. I've never had trouble flying with smelling salts before, so it has been pretty good in the checked bag. And again, this is not critical. There will be salts down there. I just like my zone and I want to be able to use zone. So that is going to the checked bag. One last thing I got to get up to grab because it is over in my toolbox, but that is a tape measure. And the reason I want to have a tape measure is someone might argue that this is a little bit unnecessary. That's someone that told me it was unnecessary last year was Joel, but then he jacked up his mono height and pick like 2 times in a row and barely got it on his third. So the reason I'm bringing this is prior to heading down, I will just take the tape measure out and I'll put the one on the floor, go up to the squat bar and figure out where my mono height should be height-wise, just so that if anything is weird on the day, I just know that I'm in the same spot as I was on training. I will also use this for bench. I'll just measure the distance from the pad to the bar. And with both of those measurements, if you are on a different brand of mono, if you are on a different brand of bench, the measurements you have in training compared to the platform might end up being slightly different, but it will at least get you in the ballpark. And the reason I say it might end up being slightly different is if the monolift is a flexier monolift and like there's going to be some like slack in the mono that needs to come out before we unrack it, you might need to set the rack a little bit differently, or might need to sit a little bit lower when the bar is loaded compared to what you have been training on. If the bench has a squishier pad, like you might squish into the pad more than what you would have been training on, you'd have to raise the height up. But I just like having this for a little peace of mind, just to make sure that I'm approximately in the right range, and then I can fine tune it based on how things are feeling. But now the moment of truth will be to see, can I zip this up? And I'm also afraid that I'm going to break my little accent table if I put too much pressure on it. But I think that's everything I need. I really hope that's everything I need. I watched the video I made a couple years ago, and that was for a wrap meet, so I have some things in that video that I don't have in this video, but I don't need knee wraps. I don't need a wrap roller, so I think we're good to go. And I also want to address the fact that I am not packing baby powder. And the reason I'm not packing baby powder is, like, I can always go to a pharmacy and grab a little bottle of baby powder. And with it being so easily available, plus the risk of having a giant bottle of baby powder exploding in my checked-in luggage, I just don't want to bring it. I can go to the grocery store. I got to go to the grocery store. I got to go to a pharmacy anyways, so I will be grabbing it down there. But that is what I got, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess the next time I see ya, I will be in Florida.